What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Acts of Creation. And in this week's lesson, we check out some Meshuggah Style Polymeters. So what I like to do here on this channel is look at musical concepts and ways that we can incorporate it into our guitar writing, our riff writing, and our songwriting. And what I'd like to talk about today is what could be considered rhythmic distortion, right? We're gonna disorient our listeners' sense of time through the use of rhythm. And the masters of this are Meshuggah. So I wanna look at a couple of examples of how we can incorporate that vibe into our playing. Before we jump into the examples, I am on a 7-string in a drop A tuning. You can play this riff on whatever tuning or string you'd like. I'm literally only playing open 1 and 2. Okay, but do keep in mind that Meshuggah does tune down heavily. So if you want to follow along with the tabs for this, down in the description below you can find a PDF and a guitar profile. And while you're down there, please click on that subscribe button because we do this weekly. So the first example that I want to look at is something that I do often in my writing, and that's essentially phrase a riff that blasts 2 measures but doesn't land on the downbeat in between them, right? So the first half is going to be in a 7/8 and the second half is going to be on a 9/8. So let's check that out and then we'll break it down. A 2-measure riff, but instead of landing on the 1 on each measure, we're gonna cut it a little short the first time and then repeat that and then run it a little long the second time. And the way that works out is you get a measure of 7/8 and 9/8. Now, you're not necessarily gonna count it or feel it in that. That's just the time of the phrasing, how it breaks down, okay? And the riff, like I mentioned before, I'm only playing open 1 and 2. So the opening riff starts with an 001, 02. And I like to open up the 1 and the 2, don't palm mute them as like the opens. And then you're gonna do a little 1, 2, and then a slur, a quick hammer on or a roll, 0, 1, 2. So we have this so far. Right, and then we're gonna end with an 0, 1. That's our 7/8 riff, and we're gonna use this twice in our 2 examples, okay? So to achieve this, the only thing we have to do is play it twice, and then since the second half of it runs long, we just have to add a couple extra notes to it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna play 0, 0, 2, 1 as a little turnaround. So we play our 7/8 riff twice and then put that little turnaround on it. And I'll play it slow for you. Cool, that's our 7/8 plus 9/8 riff. Alright, so now the second way we can kind of do this is just repeat the 7/8 again and again and again until it lands back down on 1. And then everything else kind of cycles through the time, which is kind of fun. Alright, so let's check that out and then we'll break it down. For this one, our 7/8 pattern is still the same, okay? But instead of changing it at all, we're just going to repeat it, right? So it's going to start an eighth note earlier in every measure, right? So the first measure, it's going to be on the upbeat of 4. And then the second measure, it's going to be on 4. And then the third measure, it'll be on the upbeat of 3. It'll slowly work backwards in time until you get back to 1. And you're going to play the riff, the 7/8 riff, 8 times through 7 measures. And that's when you'll land back on 1. Okay? And just a tip, if you're going to do this kind of stuff, I would probably, on that 8th measure, make some kind of turnaround, some kind of fill to kind of bring it all together so you know where it is and you give a sense of form to your disorientation. So there you go. 2 real fun ways how you can mix in and incorporate that Meshuggah disorienting rhythm into your riff writing and into your songwriting. Like I said before, you can find a PDF or Guitar Pro, these tabs, down in the description below. While you're down there, please subscribe because we do this weekly. And as always, let me know what you come up with. So until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.